The Mini brand is in a rather peculiar place in a world where car brands are constantly pressured by their investors to deliver sales numbers. It's hard to think that a brand that many people would label as left-wing for making cute modern retro cars can still exist today when its direct rivals like the compact cars from Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen and BMW itself sell in far greater numbers, and we're talking globally. If you think that the Clubman and the Countryman next to me are just oversized Mini models based on the iconic hatch, well, there's really more to the brand than just that. I know of people who don't care about cars, whose end goal is to actually own a Mini. And I also know a few enthusiasts or, car people who cannot get enough of a Mini. Like Harvinder, my boss. He's a legit race car driver of sorts, and he drives this, the JCW Clubman. So its appeal is really quite broad. Today, I'd like to share a story with you about how Mini and John Cooper became one. It all started way back before you and I were born, back in the 60s, when, Mini was just an everyday normal car. But like many other distinguished performance brands, Mini actually had its fair share of glory in the world of motor racing. And this is its story. The classic Mini was actually created as an affordable means of personal transport during a time ravaged by the oil crisis. Back then, the price of gasoline was too high, and most people simply couldn't afford to drive big cars with big engines. The classic Mini was a sales success. It sold in great numbers both domestically and abroad, and it was quite well received for its time. But there was this one guy called John Cooper who saw greater potential in the classic Mini, and he immediately got to work with it. He took one, he modified it, and he went racing with it. This John Cooper guy wasn't your average rich kid nut job who had nothing better to do in its time. I mean, we're talking about in the 50s and the 60s here. And this John Cooper guy was already a very successful race car driver / race car builder. He made Formula 3, Formula 1 cars that were driven by the late Stirling Moss and Bruce McLaren. If you recognize those names, then you'll know that this John Cooper guy is no joke. He was also credited for revolutionizing the motor racing landscape with the creation of his rear-engine, rear-wheel drive race car chassis. John didn't know the significance of the RR layout because he thought, it would be the convenient thing to do. Just put the engine at the back, drive the wheels with a motorbike chain and just let it do its thing. Sounds convenient, right? But that was what he actually told the press back in the time. But come on, who was he kidding? He was building race-winning, championship-winning race car. So I bet he knew a thing or two about putting the engine at the back. The first major breakthrough for the modified Mini, then known as the Mini Cooper, was when Patrick Hopkirk won the Monte Carlo Rally in 1964. Nobody really saw this victory coming because the Mini went up against much bigger and powerful machines, including a Ford Falcon with a huge V8 engine. But unbelievably, the Mini won. Over the next few decades, the classic Mini range grew and it continued to enjoy great success both on the sales and blockbuster front. You remember Mr. Bean, right? But then came the turn of the century and Mini had to rebrand itself. That's when BMW and Michael Cooper, that being John Cooper's son, came into the picture to start spicing things up. In memory of his late father, Michael Cooper decided to open the John Cooper Works Company as a specialist tuning division for the new BMW Mini. It's sort of like Polestar for Volvo and ABT Sportsline for Audi. Owners of the new BMW Mini can buy these JCW aftermarket parts and install them on their cars, all with the blessings of BMW, so their warranties are left intact and the customers can enjoy slightly better performance from their brand new ride. So great going, BMW. Happy with how things were going, BMW made full acquisition of the John Cooper Works company, the whole thing, in 2007, and a year later they launched the JCW Hatch and the JCW Clubman, these guys' predecessor. The hardcore John Cooper Works that was introduced in 2013 was the first of its kind to be built in-house, and only 2,000 units were made. So if you have one, keep it forever. Now that we've established the racing pedigree that is encapsulated by this JCW badge, perhaps you found some newfound sense of respect for the real JCW cars. The two cars that we have here, the JCW Countryman and the JCW Clubman, they are absolute beasts. They might not look like it, but they are really, really fast. Both cars are powered by the most potent BMW B48 2-liter engine that is currently available. It makes 306 PS and 450 Nm of torque, with drive sent to all four wheels via a really good 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, the JCW Countryman does the 0 to 100 in 5.1 seconds, and this Clubman does the 0 to 100 in 4.9 seconds. If you're lucky enough to get your hands on the John Cooper Works GP, that is the most brutal, most potent 3-door hatch, that shares the same engine as this. But trust me, you're okay with the JCW hatch. That guy makes about 234 PS and 320 Nm of torque. That is plenty for a tiny city slicker. Sure, these cars may be bigger and they might not be the fastest cars that money can buy, but honestly, I struggle to find a car or a brand that makes cars so distinctly different from the mainstream, you know? It's like you take one look at a Mini and you know instantly that it's a Mini. There are no two ways about it. They're more practical, more luxurious, more powerful, and more comfortable to drive than ever before. There is a lot of tech too. So if you consider yourself to be fashionably tasteful, it really is hard to go wrong with a Mini. But if you want to go fast in style, well, go for the JCWs. There are 3 great ones to choose from, and we've reviewed all of them in our past videos. Feel free to watch those reviews to make a more informed buying decision, or you can, always slide us a DM on Instagram or leave your queries in the comment section below and we'll be sure to help you out. Actually, we're more than happy to help you out. So that's it from me this time around. It's been a fun one, this little storytelling episode, don't you think? I kind of enjoy doing it because it kind of makes my heart flutter with passion. I like my job, it's just tiring sometimes, but once in a while I get to share with you some great stories. And it turns out the Mini John Cooper Works story is a rather fascinating one. Anyway, if you enjoyed this kind of storytelling episodes, let us know in the comment section below so we can do more of this. And right now, I'll just have to figure a way out to, I don't know, get myself one of these. Until next time guys, thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Man, I really do want one.